Doors is a massively popular survival horror game made entirely in Roblox, and is often credited as the game that single-handedly revived the subgenre of Roblox horror, a genre that was previously dominated by mediocre projects such as Piggy. Several people have made great videos on why this game is so great, such as fellow mascot horror YouTuber Dags. However, after the release of Floor 1, there was a decently long silence from the developers. We did eventually receive the Hotel Plus update, which added a lot of new features as well as a new entity dupe, but there was still one burning question on everyone's mind. When is Floor 2 releasing? But after a lot of silence and a trailer that trolled thousands, the Floor 2 update was released on August 30th, 2024. But while everyone's off playing a literal shameless ripoff of this game, I'm over here talking about what could either be a one-up to, in my opinion, the best Roblox game ever made, or a lazy cash grab of a sequel. So grab your hard hats and pickaxes, everyone, as today we're digging a deep rabbit hole into Doors Floor 2, The Mines. Before we jump into the new update, I first just want to admire this lobby, dude. The lobby for this game is extremely well crafted in my eyes, featuring a grand-looking hotel lobby with several elevators to start games in, as well as a mini outside area for some extra flair. There's even a FNAF reference behind this door, which is pretty neat. Finally, there's an achievements menu with several things you can do, such as crucify different characters, help out your friends, or become clinically insane, with you being able to display one of these achievements on your avatar to, I guess, show off to people. But getting past all of that, let's get into an actual game and see where the mines take us. Right off the bat, we're brought to this screen, where we're able to purchase a few one-time use items to aid us throughout our game, as well as a 5x knobs multiplier for 40 Robux. Knobs are the currency in this game, and are rewarded to the player after completing matches, where you can then use these knobs to purchase things at the start of games. I gotta say, I do wish 3 of the 4 purchasable items here weren't all pretty much the same thing, but that's mostly just a nitpick. Closing out of this menu, we're able to push a button in the elevator we're currently in, which is also falling extremely fast by the way, that makes our vision go dark, as we're given the title card for this floor. Waking up, we now realize that our elevator from the end of Chapter 1 has crashed, leaving us with no choice but to keep going. Right off the bat, the visuals for this game are a huge step up in quality compared to the hotel, which is great to see. This floor also gives us a complete visual switch up as well, transitioning from brightly lit and furnished hotel rooms to dark and dreary mine shafts full of supplies and rubble. Our first task for this installment is to go around and find 2 fuses to power up a generator near where we spawned. Flipping the switch on this generator allows us to push a button in front of this big metal door, which then opens up and allows us to progress. We then move into the next room, where we have to switch the rails around on this track so we can cause a nearby minecart to break open some boards. Both of these rooms, aka 1 and 2, are scripted rooms, meaning that they are the exact same every time, and act as tutorials for mechanics that will become important later. This is something that the hotel did too, where door 1 is the exact same every time, in order to show you that floor's key mechanic. And I think this makes a lot of sense for showing the player how the main mechanics work. I also just want to say that I'm a big fan of this whole mineshaft aesthetic of this floor, as not only does it allow for some amazing visuals, but I also think it fits a game about walking through a bunch of random places a lot better than a hotel, as I feel like a mineshaft would have way more of these kind of environments. Moving along, we're introduced to our first real threat. Screech is back again from the hotel, and is now able to latch onto the player at any point in the game, rather than being restricted to dark rooms like before, which I think works well as a prevailing threat to constantly keep the player on edge. We're also able to encounter a few more returning threats, like Rusher Eyes, as well as a new friend. This is Giggle, and they're one of the new entities introduced in this update. Giggle's mechanic is fairly easy. They will randomly spawn somewhere on the ceiling, and will damage the player if they get too close. Thankfully, you can pretty easily hear them, well, giggling in the room, so just avoid them when you can, and you should be fine. Making our way deeper through the mines, we spot another familiar face. Figure, despite all he went through back at the hotel, is still alive, and still hunting us down. He can't actually get you in this room to my knowledge, but I think it's meant to serve as more of a warning. Trudging even further through the mines, we can encounter faces such as Ambush, who now requires us to hide in multiple lockers thanks to Hide, Hull, who now has his own dedicated area of the mines, Dupe, who creates fake doors, and the Gloombats, who fly around and attack the player if they equip any light sources, while also destroying all lights in a given room. There are also doors with caution signs on them, which when opened, lead to rooms full of poisonous gas, as well as landmines we need to avoid stepping on. We also encounter Figure in his own room, where we have to avoid him while looking for the exit on the other side. All of these entities work really well together in my opinion, and provide a nice challenge throughout the first 40 doors. Wait, 40? Yeah, we still have one more threat to face before door 150. Seek is back again for round 2, with a brand new chase scene to boot. We start with this really cool animation of him coming out of the drainage pipe, before he begins chasing us down. From here, we have to follow the guiding light around massive boulders that will spawn, as well as jump over bridges that have collapsed, although the timing is pretty precise. After a lot of jumping, we just barely miss the final jump and fall into a minecart. From here we have to ride through the mines on the cart while dodging boards, reminiscent of the end of Rainbow Friends Chapter 2. Overall, this is a much better chase compared to last time in my eyes, with a lot more engaging gameplay and a complete switch up halfway through to really mix things up. And finally, we reach the halfway point. Door 150, aka this floor's door 50, is the halfway point of the game, and acts as a boss fight to signify that you're halfway through. Door 150 also picks up right where door 149 left off, with you falling out of your minecart and ending up even deeper within the mines, where you then must run away from a new entity, Grumble. Grumble essentially acts as Figure for this level, being a boss that strangely bears a striking resemblance to Giggle. Grumble isn't blind like Figure, however this means they are able to be slowed or distracted by light sources, which is nice. Our objective here is to input 4 codes into various panels around these massive cave-like mazes while being stalked by Grumble, who randomly patrols the environment and chases the player if spotted. After inputting all 4 codes and narrowly dodging this absolute beast of an entity, we spot 2 more familiar faces of Jeff and El Goblino, who were added to floor 1 in the Hotel Plus update. El Goblino just gives you some extra dialogue, however Jeff has a shop where you can spend coins found around the game to purchase items to help you out. After this point in the game, we're introduced to a new environment for this chapter, that being a sewage system, with us occasionally needing to crawl into the sewers in order to progress, which provides a nice and welcome visual switch up. After some more progress, we're brought to the Seek Chase 2.0, which is something the hotel did also. But unlike the hotel, where it's just the same thing but a bit harder, this chase is completely different, which I really like. We now have to navigate this maze of sewage pipes while also occasionally jumping over boxes or collapsed pipes, which, while not as fun as the first chase in my opinion, is still really cool. But then, we finally make it to the last challenge. Door 200 is like door 100 from the last floor on steroids in all the best ways, with us having to avoid this massive Seek ink blob while accomplishing various tasks. We start by having to turn 2 valves around the map while avoiding falling into the ink. This then initiates a cutscene where Seek slowly starts draining before stopping. We then have to turn on 4 valves while also avoiding the ink, however Seek arms will randomly pop out of the ink and try to grab you as well. Doing this brings you to the final challenge, where we now have to activate 5 valves while dodging all of the attacks from before, as well as these massive Seek blob projectiles, which shoot out in random places as indicated by a red light on the floor. Activating all of the valves initiates one final climactic cutscene, where Seek is sucked down the drain, never to be seen again. Well, at least until he's revived for door 3. We're then able to power a generator and exit through a massive gate, where we end up outside of the hotel, I think. We're then able to activate this rift thing, and go over to these massive castle doors which we open up, initiating one final cutscene, which I'm just going to let play out. Now that we've gone through the entire floor, I want to give my thoughts on two major questions about it. A, is it good? And B, is it better than the hotel? Starting with if it's good or not, absolutely it is. Doors Floor 2 is not only an amazing horror experience, but just a great game overall. Everything from the diversity in mechanics, to the eerie visuals, to the expertly crafted music, to jaw-droppingly good animations and cutscenes, make this game an absolute masterpiece in my opinion. Even the items are better to me, as you're now able to carry large stacks of them and have a variety of light sources to choose from, which I really like. As of writing this video, I haven't actually beaten this update yet, but from what I've played, I can easily say that it is a fantastic game that was definitely worth the wait, and I hope LSplash can go on to make even better games in the future. As for if it's better than Floor 1, absolutely as well. Not only is this level a lot more challenging and engaging than the hotel, but it feels like Doors Floor 2 took everything that made the hotel good and amplified it 10 times over, creating an experience that works great as both a solo adventure and a fun time with friends if you want. The story of this chapter is also pretty decent, with Seek now apparently being the new main villain of the game, which I think works pretty well. There's also probably some secret lore from the monsters or whatever, but I don't really care too much, so I'll just assume the game has peak story. Overall, I'm extremely satisfied with Doors Floor 2, and I hope LSplash can learn from both the good and bad of this game for all of their future projects. The game isn't perfect, obviously. Sometimes the gameplay can feel a bit too samey, and I wasn't lying when saying that this game is more difficult than the first, but I still really enjoyed it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video too. Also, let me know what you guys think of Doors Floor 2 in the comments if you've played, and I'll try and read most of them. But anyways, thanks for watching. I'm Supersonic, and I'll see you next time.